Hello everyone, this is STEM Choir again with lesson 1.3, the distributive property. Today we will be learning about this property and going through some examples. So first, let's talk about the distributive property. The distributive property is a property where we distribute a number outside of the parentheses to the number or numbers inside. For example, let's take the problem 5 times 2 plus 3. So in this problem, the 5 is outside the parentheses. So what we can do is we would multiply the 5 to the 2 and multiply the 5 to the 3 like that. And what ends up happening is get the 5 times 2 plus the 5 times 3, and that equals 10 plus 15, which equals 25. So one mistake that some people do is forget about the signs. For example, we have the second problem, -2 times 5 plus 8 minus 3. So we have to remember to distribute the negative sign as well with the 2. We can't just leave the negative sign alone. So we would do -2 times 5 plus -2 times 8 minus -2 times 3. So we have -2 times 5, which is -10, plus -2 times 8, which is -16, minus -2 times 3, which is -6. So one little trick that we have to remember is that if two negative signs are right next to each other, we can make that a positive. So we have -10 plus -16 plus 6, and that equals -20. Now, you could ask, why didn't we just add or subtract the numbers inside the parentheses and then multiply it to the number outside the parentheses afterwards, which would be multiple times easier? So, for example, in the first problem, we could just do 5 times what's in the parentheses, 2 plus 3, and that equals 5, and then just get 25 like that. But in the cases we talked about right now, it's possible to do that. But in some cases, like when we have a variable involved, you can't really add the numbers up inside the parentheses if you don't have like bases. For example, if we have the problem 8 times x plus 3y, we can't add the x to the 3y because these numbers don't have like bases, as the variables are different, as you can see. So what we can do is, to simplify this equation, is to use the distributive property and leave it in that form. That means we multiply the 8 with the x and the 8 with the 3y. So we would get 8x plus 8 times 3, which is 24y. And that's our answer. We would just leave it in that form. Something we must remember is that we only distribute when the problem asks us to simplify everything out or solve. If the problem asks you to factor the equation, then you would not want to use the distributive property. Thank you, and that was STEM Choir on lesson 1.3, the distributive property.